Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to Rob A's NERFtorials. Today we are going to be doing a Nerf blaster I've had on my to-do list for quite some time now. This is the Nerf Sharp Shot. It's one of the Dart Tag line, and I think it's a really nice looking design overall. It's very simple, very clean looking, and I just think it would take very well to kind of like a alien or more futuristic sort of paint job rather than the usual kind of more steampunk paint job that I tend to do. So first thing we're going to do is actually disassembly. And I don't generally modify these guns in any way, shape, or form. I don't take out the restrictors or anything like that. You're welcome to do that if you want. I don't really use the Nerf guns a whole lot other than just for display. So really their functionality doesn't really make any difference to me. But first things first, we're going to go ahead and take the darts out here. And as you can see, we've got a very nice looking, and like I said, again, it's just very clean looking. I think that's what really appeals to me. And it's just a basic, pull back and fire handgun, so it should be very simple as far as internals go. As a matter of fact, I think I did one of these already a couple of years ago. I just don't remember it very well. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get ourselves prepared. First thing, you wanted to make sure you have all the right tools. And for this, all you need is a Phillips screwdriver. Just make sure it's thin enough to fit inside the little holes here and long enough to get down in there as well. It would help if the tips are magnetic because the screws can be a little annoying to get out of there at times, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Also, you want to grab yourself a little Ziploc baggie or zip close bag, not to be brand specific, but you just want something to keep screws and internals inside of, to kind of keep them out of harm's way and make sure they don't get lost. So without further ado, we are going to disassemble this Nerf blaster. And to do that, I think I'm going to take, well, we'll try out this screwdriver. It's a little bit chewed up, but it should be okay. If it starts to slip, we'll just switch it out for another one. But basically, we just want to pull all the screws out and make sure they make it into our little sandwich baggie, just like so. And just like so. So you just want to repeat that exact step just all the way around, and I'll meet up with you guys when that's done. Okay guys, so now that we have all of the visible surface screws taken out, what we want to do first is get rid of the primer handle here. And we want to do that very carefully because among many reasons, well, two really important reasons, is that this may contain pieces. There's probably a pin going through this handle that is going to be attached to a spring, and we just don't want parts to go flying when we remove these pieces. And there's also probably a very good chance that there's another screw holding the main body together underneath these pieces. So we want to just be very careful and just take this off first. We're just going to split this, and you can see the pin right here, and it went through this little hole right there in the front. I'm just going to pull that right off, and there we go. And you can see there is in fact another screw right here. So we're just going to go ahead and put these aside. Those are ready to take and paint, and we're just going to go ahead and pop this screw out, so we can hopefully access the internals for this blaster. So we're going to pop that out, pop it in our bag, and next up, we just want to get this bit off because, again, there may be more screws underneath these kind of armored pieces. And yep, there is in fact another one here. The good thing is there is no paint on these yellowish bits. So it should be really easy to actually paint these guys. Should be no trouble. Hopefully they're not, I don't feel, yeah, they're not glued on or anything crazy like that. They were just in there nice and tight. So you can see the internals in here And you can see it's going to be pretty easy as far as the internals go. We're going to get rid of this last bit and then take a look at the internals and then pull those. So last screw, and we're ready to go ahead and just carefully open this up. There we go. So there's one half. Very nice. I love it when they're just big pieces like this. And you can see very, very simple internal stuff here. So we can go ahead and just pull this bit out. And we should be able to take this out as well. And this is like our main internal piece. And you can see here's the bit that holds the bar. So we're just going to take this entire chunk and just stick it in our bag. You can even pull the spring off the end if it's, you know, not going to work. And of course this spring as well. Now this spring needs to be attached to the bar here. So this is going to be probably the trickiest part of getting this all back together. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. You just want to make sure you remember how this thing is oriented when it's in here. So it's going to stand up just like this, and that can go right in the bag too. The trigger we'll keep out because we're going to paint that. This whole piece we can keep out because we are going to paint all of these. So very cool. We've got our barrel, we've got our blaster, and we're ready to prime and paint. Oh, and we can pop this out too if you want this to be, you know, a different color. So, all right, let's get ready for painting. Okay guys, so now that we have our parts all kind of ready to go, what we want to do is, if you're going to be painting over this, you want to make sure that you remove the original paint from the body of the blaster, because otherwise if you try and paint over this, it'll be fine if you just use like one coat of flat color, but anything else you put over this, it's not going to bond to this paint surface, and that's when you're going to get that alligator kind of skin crinkling effect going on. So what you want to do is either sand this off, and it's really easy, just get, you know, some sandpaper. You don't have to do anything like too aggressive. You just want to get, you know, like the main bulk of it off, you know, something like that. You can also use Goof Off, will also take the paint. However, this will also scar the surface of the plastic, so you want to be very careful with that, because, you know, while of course sanding it can have the same effect, it can also scar the surface, but the Goof Off is just a little more extreme, you know. So you just want to go ahead and kind of give it a coat just until it's no longer glossy. You don't even have to necessarily get all the paint completely off, because I know it's like baked on, so I know how tough it can be to get, you know, get it all the way. But you should be able to do it most of the way anyhow, and like that should be pretty well fine. Yeah, I'm just using a microfiber cloth to get all the little particles out, so it'll be ready for, you know, our base coat of paint. But so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these pieces, and I will see you guys in just a minute. Okay guys, so we have all of our parts laid out and ready to paint our basically our base coat, and I always use super cheapy, just, I got this at Walmart, it was like 97 cents. It's just flat black, straight up spray paint, super cheap, and it works really well as a base coat. So I'm just going to go ahead, and what I'm doing for the outside yellow pieces is I'm actually turning them in, you know, I'm painting the insides first, just so when it's back together you don't really, you know, the inside is just going to be black. It's not going to reflect, you know, that original color out, so it's just going to look more, you know, like it matches. And the rest of the pieces are already black, so I'm not going to worry about that. We did do our sanding. Obviously, we did not get all the paint off. I got lazy, quite honestly. You can, of course, get every last bit of the paint off, but I think that should be okay. And if it's not, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But basically, we're just going to go ahead, get a little test spray there, make sure there's no little bits of paper floating around in here. And then we're just going to go little by little and spray all these pieces. And when we're all done, it's going to be very dark inside this box. You just want to go ahead and, you know, whoops, sorry guys. You don't want to get like too close with the paint can, and you don't want to just press down on the top consistently, because then you're going to get a lot of overspray. It's going to start pooling, and it's going to just turn into a mess. So just light sprays across the surface should do you just fine. And I'm going to keep going until everything's done, and I'll be back with you guys in just a minute. Okay guys, so now we are actually going to do our armor bits. You can see we've gone through and we've sprayed black over every surface, and I did a couple of coats, so it should be nice and solid. Now if you miss, you know, a couple small areas, it's not the end of the world, but you know, the more you can cover with your base coat, the better off you'll be later on, because you'll have to do less touch-up work. So it just benefits you to do as much as you can. So for the armor bits, I'm actually going to be using a car color. So it's a duplicolor, and it's just this nice silver that's got a lot of blue in it, and I actually just really like that color for whatever reason. I just do. So that's what I'm going to use for the armor pieces. And you just want to remember that if you're going to be doing the you know, something like this that kind of goes in a lot of directions, I guess would be the best way to put it. So you've got all this, you know, you've got a lot of angles on this guy, so you want to get the bottoms, you know, the less likely to be seen areas first. So that when you're doing the main areas, you know, you don't risk having this, you know, you don't want to paint this and then lie it down, you know, on that side, because it could mess up your paint. So you just want the less desirable section to be painted first, so you can then, you know, flip it over or whatever. So that's that, and we are going to just again, hold your spray paint at a decent angle away. This is supposed to be any angle spray paint, but it's obviously might be a little clogged up. Anyway, just give it a good first coat, not too much. And then let it dry completely. Okay, so we have our bluish silver all set, and it looks pretty good. I think I like how it came out. It's a little bit light on this side, but we're going to be doing a top coat on it, so it should be fine. After all that. This one is still a little bit wet because I just did another coat on there, but I think it looks pretty good. And we're just gonna take this guy out of here and let it dry off to the side while we do our silver coat. And for the silver coat, I'm going to use actually a matte aluminum metallic. It's Krylon. Dries in 15 minutes or less. So it says. So we're going to just go ahead and get our silver parts ready to go. And that's going to be the trigger here, the barrel, and these little guys here. So it should be fine. Should be pretty simple. Just going to lay these guys out. And we're going to actually do the, like I showed you before, we're going to put this barrel front down to start. Alright. Alright, make sure that's good. Huh. I think the tip on this paint is a little bit clogged, perhaps. So I may have to change out the tip. So that is going to be interesting. So all right, well, it should be fine. Let's pop this right out here. Side, and I'll use the tip from the black paint can. Just tap it on there. You don't want to press down. There we go. Much, much better. And we're just going to let that dry. 15 minutes or less, right? And I'll flip it over and do the other coats, and then we'll be ready to start doing our detailing work. Okay guys, so the Pikachu cup is out, and you know what that means. It is time to paint. So we've got our side here, the main body, as you can see, nicely done in the flat black. So it should, hold the paint very nicely and give us a nice surface to work on. And we have the two kind of, the shell pieces, not shell, but like the two armor pieces. And as you can see, that already looks pretty cool. Very nice, very sharp. I like the contrast, and so that should work out pretty well. We've got the barrel here. I gave it a little bit of a black spray, but I just want to kind of add a little bit more here to the outside, just to give it that kind of a burst, like there's actually like heat coming out of this thing. So that should all work out pretty well. And we're going to go ahead and get started painting. So basically what we're going to do is I've got a couple of colors here. I've got metallic silver sterling. Okay, that's going to be our accent color. And then we've got our metallic gunmetal gray, which we're going to use for this part of the handle here, and then this little triangle here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. I'm going to paint it off camera, just to kind of keep the video a reasonable length. And then once we do that and get that all set up, we're going to use our accent color to go back over all of these pieces and just kind of distress it a little bit, age it a little bit, and we'll do some little accent colors on here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started, and then I'll check back with you guys in just a minute. Okay guys, so we did our first coat of the the gunmetal gray here, and I did the silver sterling. Sorry, I keep forgetting the name of those silvers. And obviously you can see it's pretty rough right now, but this, like I said, this is just the first coat. We're going to let this dry. It should be almost ready, and then we'll put the second coat on, which should finish it off, and then we'll just do the detailing work. I did just a little dry brush of the gunmetal just in this little design here, just to kind of pick out the details a little bit, and that should actually be even further like done up later once we do a final coat on the gun itself. Same over here, just a little dot of the silver sterling right there, and we've got our trigger all ready to go. I did this by just dry stippling, basically just a little bit of this, where are you at, pewter gray, just kind of like get it in the cracks and crevices, just kind of bring out a little bit of the natural shape of the trigger here, and that should be just fine. And then a little bit of the black around the barrel of the gun. That should pretty much do it. So, ooh, as long as I don't drop it in the paint. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and put on the second coat, and then we can start doing, you know, the other details and stuff. So I'll be right back. Okie dokie, guys. So we have our, well, it's pretty much the final coat here. Really, like, you can see a little bit of the brush work here, but once you add, once we add our final clear coat, it'll kind of blend all that in together. So we're just going to go ahead and do a little bit of detailing here. And the first thing we're going to do is we've got a little bit of Sahara Gold, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my brush. Make sure you can kind of see what's going on there. And we're just going to go over the silver bits here. And you're not going to cover the whole thing. You're just going to kind of go toward the bottom and just kind of add a little bit. Just dot it on there. Just kind of like that. Just to kind of give it a little bit more color. I guess that silver was still a little wet. Oops. Whoopsie daisy. And just like that. Once you've got your gold on there, you remember the pewter gray. So we're going to take a little bit of the pewter gray, dab that on, and then just kind of go as well, just to kind of let that look a little bit, you know, a little aged. You don't have to, of course. If you want this thing to look new, then, you know, just leave everything new. But this does help, you know, cover brush strokes and things like that, and it does just help. So we're gonna do the same thing over on this guy right here. This is our little doodad. Got some water on there. That's fine. Just a little bit. I have to remember which side is which. This end is up. Not that it really matters that much, but, you know. Just gonna go ahead and dot that in. Dot that in. There you go. So, last but certainly not least, as far as, you know, hand painting, we're gonna get our cruddy dry brush, I guess, would be the word, and just do our silver dry brushing. And to do that, you just want to dip it in silver. For those of you that have watched other videos that I've done, you may already know what I'm talking about here. Some of you may not. So you're just going to go ahead and dab it in your silver, in your bright silver, and then just tap it against your little plate or palette or whatever you're using until you get the majority of the paint off. And just give it a little dab on the inside where it's not going to be seen, just to make sure that it's okay and that there's not too much paint on there. And then you're just going to kind of follow natural lines of whatever you're painting there. So I'm just gonna kind of just lightly. And then, oops, bring it into view here. Just like so. Just like so. And you pretty much just want to do this for the flat black parts, because everything else is going to be kind of already, settled. So we're going to do this for the this little ring. Any part that you imagine would, hit into things or be grabbed often, especially, the area around the trigger, things like that. So anything where it would see a lot of wear and tear. And then once you got that going, we're going to move on to the body of the gun itself. And again, just get the excess paint off on the inside here where it's not going to be an issue, and then just kind of bring it in. And I know a lot of this is actually going to be kind of covered over once you add the armor back on, or the whatever you want to call it, the little plates. But it's all about going that extra mile. So basically you want to do this all the way around. You can do a little bit on the gunmetal parts as well, if you so desire. It's really up to you. It's not going to show up all that well, but that's okay. You'll know it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I will see you guys when it's ready to get the final coat. Okay guys, so we have our gun kind of ready to go here. We've got our little pieces, and there you go. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and coat everything with a spray enamel. This is gloss transparent black, and what this should do is give us kind of a nice little effect here. It's going to kind of soften the edges. It's going to actually get into all these little crevices and hopefully darken everything up and really pick out those details. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a once over, maybe a twice over, and we'll check it out when I return. So cool. Okay guys, we've got everything painted. We are ready to reassemble, and I just want to show you really quick the nice gradient that the transparent black left on all of these pieces. Look at that. It's really nice, really picked out the details, filled in all the lines and things like that. So it's really sharp looking, I think. So it's time to reassemble our blaster. Here's the main body piece, and we're going to go ahead and reattach the armor pieces first. Make sure it's all lined up here. Just plug it all in. There we go. So we got that going on. I'm gonna stick this in because this has the pin for the priming mechanism right there. So you're just gonna flip that right over. We've got our little whatchamacallit thing, the I guess key ring, or just the clip ring, and I left that uncoated with the clear coat. That is just just plain, and I left this piece just kind of plain as well. So just to add a little difference in color. So we got that. Let's reassemble, I should say. I think that looks pretty good, just like that. Nice piece going on there. That just slips right in there. We're going to, of course, stick our barrel in. Just like so. We're going to have to add the internals, of course. First, where'd our trigger go? Got our trigger. Whoops. Backwards. Got our trigger. There we go. Alright, so this piece goes in here. And slides right in. Actually, that is not what I had wanted. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm actually going to give that a quick coat of black, just so we don't have to look down that crazy orange barrel. Or, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to paint it. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to give this a quick spritz. Alright guys, so I added a quick black coat to that. Didn't come out that great, but it's alright. We'll manage. We're just going to stick the spring back on there. We of course have to reattach this spring as well. So just make sure it fits over that. And whoops. We gotta get it. Just make sure this guy fits. So slide it over that, I guess first, and then right over that guy right there. So you get this going on. There you go. That's called nicey nice. And then just pop this right back in. There you go. That should be fine. And of course, we'll do one side and then the other here, because there are those screws that get kind of hidden underneath everything. But we'll be able to do this pretty quickly, I would think. Just go ahead and get these screws tucked in. And that's, you know, that's pretty much what we're doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this all screwed back together, and we will check it out once it's finished. Okay guys, so once you've got it all assembled, you're all set. That's it, and you can see we've got a nice, very nice finish. I really like how the transparent black kind of worked on this particular blaster. It's probably something I'll be using from now on for a lot of different effects. So I think everything came out really, really nice, and it kind of acts as a clear coat as well, so it should protect the paint underneath. So it's really good, and of course the gun is still fully functional. The paint is still drying inside the barrel there, so I'm not going to stick any darts in there at the moment, lest they get stuck. But yeah, you should have a pretty nice looking blaster here, and hopefully you had a good time painting it up as well. So I know I did. So that, guys, is going to do it for this video, and I hope it helped. And I hope you enjoyed it. If so, leave a like down below, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I do these every once in a while, as often as I can. I'm trying to get a little bit more under my belt, I guess would be the way to describe it. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. Just enjoy your Nerf blaster all painted up. Really nice for you. And that's going to do it. Thank you guys so very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.